warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my course in Fun Science Learning. With me, teacher Sofi Alfiani, we are going to learn about chemistry. Good morning, great students. How are you today? I hope you all in good condition. But during this COVID-19 issues, during this pandemic, we all feel bored, right? We're doing anything at home and then we just stay at home. But I hope you can enjoy study here, enjoy this lesson. We will learn about chemical reaction. Did you know everything in the world is made up of chemicals? And from one chemicals with others can react to form another chemicals. But first, I will give you some example in our daily life, and you need to tell me whether that example is physical change or chemical change. The first example, the paper is torn, and then the second one, the paper is burned. And the next one, the water is converted into ice, and the last one is respiration process. So, which one among those examples are included into physical change, and which one among those examples is included into chemical change? So, to differentiate between chemical change and physical change, we have to know what is physical change and what is chemical change itself. Physical change is a process in which the substance is experienced a change in its physical properties like shape, size, and then another appearance, but no instructional structure or molecular composition. While in chemical change, there are rearrangements of the atom of one or more substances and change in their chemical properties or compositions, and resulting the new substance, at least one substance. So let's go back to our examples. The first one is paper is torn into two pieces. So it is physical or chemical changes. But from this one, I'll be getting a new substances or new chemical properties? Not at all. The paper just torn into two pieces, but it's still paper, right? And nothing else. This is a physical changes. So how about the paper is burned? Paper is converted into ash and smoke, and this new substance is entirely occur. So this is the example of chemical changes. Third example is water is converted into ice. Do you think that the water or the ice is examples of chemical changes or physical changes? Here the changes just occur in its state, which is from the water liquid into the ice, which is a solid. But the ice can be converted back into the water with little bit of heating, so it's reversible. It's a physical properties, and then the changes we call it as physical changes. So the last one is interesting, respiration process. Can you follow me? So what happens when we respire? When we respire, we utilize the oxygen we inhale, and then after the respiration process, the carbon dioxide is released, we exhale. So it's clearly the new substance is formed, so it is a chemical changes. Whenever the chemical changes is take place, there is a chemical reactions. So the chemical reactions, this is what we will study in detail. What we actually means by chemical reactions, and then how do we know that chemical reactions or the reactions has taken place. And all of this and much more we will learn in today's lesson. But before we learn more about chemical reactions, you have to watch the video and then fill the worksheets to enrich your knowledge about the chemical changes and physical changes, and then you can download the worksheets in this video. I have write the link of the worksheet, and you have to fill the worksheet, and you can can submit into my email in the end of the class. Okay.
Believe this.
Let's continue our study. Here see the presentation. We will learn much more about chemical reaction. And here today's outline lesson. We have learned about chemical and physical changes, and then we will learn about chemical reaction, chemical equation, and the factors that influence the chemical reaction. But better if we review about physical and chemical changes. Here I have key term about physical changes. The physical changes is the changes that occur in its physical properties, like size, shape, another appearance, but not the structure or molecular composition. And then no new substance are formed, and then the physical changes is reversible. While the chemical changes, the new product with new properties naturally occur, and then the result from chemical reaction. In other words, the chemical reaction always resulted by chemical changes. So, what is actually chemical reaction? The chemical reaction is a process in which one or more substance as a reactants are converted into one or more different substance as a product. In simple way, we can say that chemical reaction is the reactant can produce product. Here the example. Hydrogen react with oxygen will produce water. Hydrogen and oxygen here as a reactant, and then the water here as a product. This is what we call as chemical reaction. Why we call it chemical reaction? Because there are a new substance, which is water as a product here in this case. And then we have some notes here. Water here is new substance with new properties. And then there is chemical changes here, and whenever the new substance formed, there are some evidence, and the evidence we will explain in next slide. There are some evidence that chemical reaction or chemical changes has occurred. The first one is the release or absorption of energy, and then the second one is formation of new substance. The release or absorption of energy can be sound, light, heat, electrical, or another. And then the formation of new substance can be detected by color or odor. Keep in mind that chemical changes is produce new substance. In this case, boiling water, there is a gas produced. That gas is water vapor, and it's not new substance since we can return it back into water. And then also mixing of color. Maybe we are going to get a new color, but it's not new substance. New substance should have new properties like color, density, melting point, or boiling point, and the other basic properties. So we can conclude that the boiling water, also mixing of color, is not chemical reaction. It is the physical changes. These are examples of chemical reaction in our daily life. Have you ever seen a rotten banana or another rotten fruit? Those are examples of chemical reaction. And then the iron rust, after the iron is exposing to the air for a long time, there are some reaction from oxygen and water vapor that can cause the iron is rusting. And then the campfire, from the wood, it can produce a new substance which is charcoal, and that is chemical reaction. And then there are a lot of processes that occur in our body. One of these are digestion and respiration process. From those two processes, there are examples of chemical reaction. So, what happens in chemical reaction? In a chemical reaction, two reactants react with each other to form a new product. In a simple way, I can draw it. A substance A react with substance B can produce substance C plus substance D. It is a chemical reaction in a simple way. And chemical reaction are described with chemical equation which symbolically present the starting materials and reactant and sometimes intermediate products and reaction condition. So, the reaction can symbolically present by chemical equation. And from that, we can get what chemical equation are. Chemical equation is a written representation using number and symbol of a process that occurs during the chemical reaction. And the second definition, chemical equation shows the overall chemical change of reactant into product. We have two ways to express the chemical equation. The first one is the word equation. For example, sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid can produce sodium chloride plus water. We write the substance, all of the equation, all of the chemical reaction with word, which called word equation. And the second one is formula equation. We write the word with symbol. For example, sodium hydroxide. Here we write NaOH plus hydrochloric acid. We write here HCl and then produce sodium chloride and HCl plus water H2O. And then here are example of chemical equation. Reactant yields product or reactant produce product. Reactant here is glucose and oxygen. And then product here as carbon dioxide and water. But we have here the bullet here. The red one is subscript, and then the green one we call it as coefficient, and the blue one we call it as formula. The arrow symbol is show that the reaction is irreversible or one direction. Before we learn further about chemical equation, we have to know the common symbol that used in chemical equation. The first one here, the symbol plus, is the symbol that used to separate one reactant or product from another. And then the second is one arrow symbol that used to separate the reactant from the products. It is pronounced yield or produce when the equation is read. And then the both symbol arrow here, the symbol used when the reaction can produce in both directions. This is called equilibrium arrow. And next is S symbol here. The symbol indicate that the substance is in a solid state. And then G symbol here, the symbol indicate that the substance is in gaseous state. And then AQ, the symbol indicate that the substance is dissolved in water. The AQ comes from aqueous state. And then L here, the symbol indicate that the substance is in a liquid state. And the last explanation about the factors that influence or affect the rate of the reaction. The first one is surface area of the reactant. The surface area of the reactant will be explained by laboratory work in another meeting. And then the second one is concentration of the reactant. The rate of the chemical reaction will increase if the concentration of the reactant is increased because there are more particles unit for volume. And then the third one is temperature. The temperature increase, the reactant particles increase their kinetic energy and they move faster. The faster the movement of the substance, the result is more collision between the particles. Some of these extra collision which result from the temperature increase and will be successfully collision. This causes the reaction B to increase. And the fourth one is light. Some chemical reaction are affected by light. For example, photosynthesis. When the particles absorb light energy, the energy can be used to break bond, overcoming the activation energy of the reaction and cause chemical reaction to occur faster. And the last one is catalyst. Catalyst, over 90% of industrial process use catalyst. And the catalyst is one substance which can alter the rate of reaction without being chemically changed itself. And catalyst here including the enzyme. And then let we summarize the lesson what we have learned today. The first one about the chemical and physical changes. The physical and chemical changes can be differently by look at the product that produced after the process. And then the chemical reaction. The chemical reaction is a process by which a new substance are formed. And then the last one is chemical equation. The chemical equation is a representation of chemical reaction by symbolically present to show overall. Here I have the fat simulation, and then you can try and scan the QR code and the link here. I have the evaluation here, so please scan and you can try to answer. So thank you for joining the class today. You have learned about chemical reaction, chemical and physical changes, and then the chemical equations. Don't forget to joining the class next week. We will learn about the how to balancing the chemical equation and what's the type of chemical reactions. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoy these lessons and you can learn much more, and then you can enrich your knowledge about the chemistry, and then I hope this pandemic will end very soon so we can go to class, we can study in class together. Maybe that's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.